Where's the room to improve then? What do you think is going to look different, say, a year from now? We're sitting down and I say, so how was your past year? What did you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, this is an area where I'd love to tell you all kinds of plans, but they're probably best, after we launch rather than before. But here's in general what I can say. I would hope that for our drivers, they say, gosh, this last year has really as Lyft has really improved the driver experience. And it's already good, to be clear. Like, this is not an area of weakness for us, but there are always things we can improve. And as we bring more and more drivers onto the platform, I really want them to have a great experience. I'll tell you actually a tiny anecdote. I got my first message yesterday morning when I woke up was from an elementary school friend of mine. And we haven't really even kept up, but we're Facebook friends. So he sent me a Facebook message and he said, I'm considering going full time as a Lyft driver. And, how can I be helpful to you? Can I give you feedback? And I said, his name is Adam. I
Mm-hmm.
said, of course, I love that idea, Adam. I really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to your feedback. I want to make sure that driving, for Lyft is an experience that people want to do. He happens to be, in his 50s. There are plenty of kids in their 20s who also would love a job like this. And so I want to make it a great experience. So that's one. And then on the passenger side, I think there's a lot of opportunity on the rider side, I should say, to be, let's say, more differentiated based on the use case. That's sort of the technical term. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, taking a Lyft home at 5 o'clock in the evening as a commuter is not really the same experience. Or today it is, but maybe it doesn't need to be the same experience as going out, at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night to a party, or going to the airport, Sunday morning when you really, really need to be picked up, at a certain time. And the last thing you want is any variability or even a lot of fun. You just want to get
Yeah.
to the airport reliably. Those are three different scenarios, and I don't think that anyone, and this includes Uber, has yet done a great job in distinguishing among those scenarios so that every one of them is a great experience for
Well, how would it look
for
different? So let's say I'm going to the airport, yes, on time. Like, am I treated different? Like, can you give me some? Is there any example of how you imagine this is executed on the ground? Are they treating me differently at 9 o'clock on a Friday night than they are at 5 o'clock on Tuesday?
I mean, and again, not to sort of reveal too much of what goes on behind the scenes, but like, and two obvious things would be
Nuggets, just
this
some
night,
nuggets. Yeah.
right? No, but Saturday night maybe you have the music on. Sunday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning maybe you don't. Sunday morning 6 o'clock in the morning, if your flight is at 8, you really want that to be at 6 o'clock on the dot or before. Whereas Friday night going out for dinner, maybe you can kind of deal with kind of a couple minutes
Yeah.
back and forth. So even if it's just that, really focusing on a certain type of reliability and focus for the airport ride, which is a little bit different, and then focus a little more on the entertainment side for Saturday night, you can see how those, if we're designing those experiences right, they might end up feeling somewhat different, even though the fundamental, car pulls up is the same.
So you obviously have there's the obvious pain points of the economy and who knows what happens, but talk about some of the other issues that you have to deal with that are just part of the environment, sustainability being one, the transition to electric vehicles and the role that Lyft plays. Let's start with that.
Sure. So I'm super excited about that one. I mean, I think that so the world is going electric quite quickly in cars, and you see that other countries, actually China now, something like a third of the new cars are being sold as electric cars. I think in the US it's around 5%. But that will grow and grow and grow and grow. Not just because, whatever, the government is supporting it and so forth, but because the cars are actually better.
Mm-hmm.
They're more reliable, they're faster off the mark and so forth. So as that happens, we have an opportunity to really be a lot of people's first impression of electric cars, right? For a lot of people, I mean, as I say, it's only 5% of car sales in the US right now, if that. So that means 95% of people basically have no exposure to electric cars. Whereas in 10 years, if the forecasts are right, it'll be something like 50% or more. So how are people going to get that exposure? How are they going to be able to ask questions about, what the cars are really like? Well, gosh, we can play a real role there. So I'm super, super excited
So
about that. I
what
think
role
it's a
do you
real.
play? Are you encouraging drivers? Basically, will they be coming to you as the platform through which they get electric vehicles, or what? Because you're essentially a matchmaker, and much more, of course, but you're not out there buying vehicles for your drivers.
Well, we do in some cases.
Okay.
We have a product internally called Express Drive. I think that may be an external name as well that allows people to go and effectively lease cars through kind of our
So that's the
platform.
mechanism through which you'll bring in the electric vehicles and such.
That can be one. Yeah,
Are
exactly.